Guys, all the cars that you see in these videos are for sale on my website, www.woodsandbarclay.com. Enjoy the video. Hello everyone, welcome back to the series on the 1987 300 SDL. Today I got a lot of parts in for the brake system, the sway bar end links, and the shocks. And we're going to go ahead and get started on replacing those parts. So let's dive in. Okay, so here's the parts that have arrived so far, and I'm still waiting on the front brake calipers, which are actually shipping in from Germany. They didn't have them in stock here in the United States. But guys, these are all original OEM parts from the original manufacturers who produced the products that went on these cars. Now, keep in mind, Mercedes never made parts. Mercedes designs and sell cars and puts cars together. These are the parts from the OEM suppliers. For example, the shocks Mercedes used were made by Bilstein, and these are the original Bilstein shocks. Those are the front shocks. The brakes were made by ATE. These are the original OEM brakes that Mercedes installed on the vehicle. Same with the rear brake discs. Here are the sway bar end links. These were manufactured by Limforder. These are the original OEM parts, along with the front and rear brake hoses. So let's go ahead and start disassembly back here on the rear brakes. Also, before I get started, you notice I only have the rear brake rotors because the fronts were already replaced at some point, and they are beautiful condition. There's no scoring, there's no grooves, there's no lip. These have already been changed. They are excellent condition, and it would be a total waste of time and money to replace those. However, back here, these are the original rear brakes, and we do have a lip right here, and they've gotten a little crusty. And so we're going to go ahead, take these off, along with the calipers. Those are original hoses. The shocks have already been done back here. But then up in here, that's the sway bar end link. And of course, on the front of the car, those calipers haven't arrived yet. But I'm going to go ahead, replace the calipers, brake hoses, and these are still the original shocks. I'm going to get those out of here. Also, keep in mind, we haven't cleaned anything. Scott will be completely detailing and cleaning under the car. That'll be the one of the next videos. Okay, so first thing we want to do is remove these rear calipers. And that's just a 19 millimeter, pretty easy to do. And we're going to we get all new hardware, so we're just going to throw all that hardware away. And let's see how easy this guy comes off here. Yeah, this is the caliper that was seized. That's why we're replacing all the calipers. This one has already started to fail. So let me get my crowbar to get this off of here. Okay, pretty easy to do, guys. You just stick a little crowbar underneath there, and we can just pry this guy off of here. And I'm replacing the hose too, so I don't care if it hangs from the hose. Okay, next thing we want to do is get this old original rotor off of here. And we do have a retaining screw right here. This is an Allen head, so let me go ahead and get that out. Okay, this is a number 5 Allen. And sometimes these can strip, guys, and if they do, you just drill out the screw or the bolt, not a big deal. See if we can get this one out without it stripping. Oh, beautiful. There we go. So once that retaining bolt is out of there, there it goes. All right, beautiful. And I can see the emergency brakes are beautiful condition, very thick. I guess, yeah, those don't need to be changed at all. That's your emergency brake pad, very thick, almost no use on that thing. But what I like to do before installing my new rotor, I like to just sand it down right here a little bit and apply some anti-seize. Sorry, I almost said Loctite. You don't want to do that. You want to put anti-seize, and that'll keep that from getting the corrosion in the future. So let's go ahead and do that. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and get the one off on the passenger side here. Beautiful. And again, I can see Our emergency brake pads are beautiful condition over here. And again, I just want to sand down and put some anti-seize on the surface. So let's do that on both sides now. Okay, I just have some 150 grit sandpaper, and we're going to put this on high speed and go ahead and just go around the hub here. See how that stuff comes right off? There we go. Now I'll just give it a little wipe down with some acetone to clean it up. Very nice. Now we're going to put some anti-seize on here so that won't get crusty again. See how nice they clean up? And anti-seize, guys, you just want a dab. A little dab is all it takes. You go here, like that. And we just want to rub that in. You don't want to overdo it because you don't want to get this stuff on your brakes. That's all it takes. And then we'll go around the hub there. And that'll be good for the next 40 years. All right, let's go ahead and get our new rotor on this side. Okay, so you notice we have a dowel pin here and a little hole here. That's our alignment hole. So we just slide these on here. There we go. And here is the set screw. And you notice how ATE applies the red Loctite from the factory. We'll just get that in here. All right, let me bump that. And that's just going to require a little bump. There we go. That's all it takes. All right, let's go ahead and I'll do the other side and then we'll move to this caliper over here. That's my rag with my acetone up there. All right, and wipe it down. Beautiful. Now let's get our anti-seize to put on here. And like I said, guys, don't overdo the anti-seize. Just a touch. That's it. Then you want to rub that in. This stuff, anti-seize, goes a long way with just a very little bit. There we go. Beautiful. Let me get the other rotor for this side. All right, let's line up our little dowel there. There it is. Get a retaining bolt in there. The retaining bolt was added, I think, in 1986. 85 and earlier cars don't have this little retaining bolt. And we just bump it a couple of times. There we go. That's all it takes. All right, let's move to the calipers. Okay, guys, so here is, the original caliper and brake hose, and the hose actually attaches to the hard line up here. Now, what you want to do, go ahead and get your new brake hose, and I'll put a little cap over the end so brake fluid won't leak out. And I can quickly disconnect that one and then screw this in, and that will keep the brake fluid from leaking all over the place. Now, of course, we're going to flush all the brake fluid out, but this just makes it where you don't make a mess when you're doing this. So I'll set that here. And also, when you crack it loose, you want to use a line wrench. This is 11 millimeter. See how it goes? Here's a normal wrench. A line wrench goes around a little more and gives you extra grip so you don't strip out your nut up here. So let's see if I can get this around here. Let's clean that off a little first. There we go. Get any dirt and debris off there. All right. Now we're going to put our line wrench up here. Okay, you want to make sure we're on there real good. Okay, so it's spinning the brake line, so I need to get a wrench to hold right here. Hold this still while I crack that one loose. And I think that's a 14 or 17. Let me get that wrench, I'll be right back. Okay, it is a 14. So I'm gonna put my 14 right down there. Then we'll get our 11 back up here. There we go, just cracked it loose. Now, this is a Georgia car, guys. I'm sure you guys up north are used to having to apply heat and go through all kinds of hell because you get rust and corrosion up north. On these southern cars, you just simply do not have any rust. The cars don't rust down here. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and undo this. I'm gonna lower the lift a little bit so I can get a little better access. Okay, I just lowered it like a foot so I have better access. Now we're just gonna unscrew this. And once we get it undone, this old caliper and hose are just gonna come right out. And I'm gonna quickly put in the new brake line. Let's see if I can do this by hand. Not quite. There we go. Spin this thing out of here now. Okay, there we go. Now, you just quickly want to grab your other hose, your new hose, and we're going to thread this up into here. And there we go. Minimal mess that way. Remember, I have the cap on the other end. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this up. Now we may have to make an adjustment once we get the caliper on so the line isn't twisted at all, but I'll show you that later. And you guys can do this stuff at home. I'm showing you exactly what to do in these videos. And guys, it is not difficult. Just take your time and go buy some tools from your Advanced Auto or whatever. You can work on these cars with simple toolkits from your local auto parts store. Okay, good. We have that hose in there. See, our cap keeps it from leaking out. Let's go ahead and get the caliper for this side. Okay, here is our beautiful brand new caliper. And we just want to put the threads in, give it a quick spin, and there we go. We barely lost any fluid, maybe a few drops. And we'll go ahead and stick this up here. Now, ATE provides new hardware. You can see with the blue Loctite, we want to go ahead, just get a couple of those started, or get both of them started. Now, what you're going to notice, I was talking about this earlier, see we have a little twist in here? That's what we want to get rid of. Let's see if once I tighten this down, we'll see if it improves it at all. And I think it will. There we go. That's how you want it. See how it's a straight, nice curve from the connection up here down into the caliper. Now we'll go ahead and tighten this down up top, and we're ready to put our new pads in and torque down our caliper. And I'm actually going to turn this just a little bit up top. I'm going to undo it just a little bit because there is a little bit of a twist in there. There we go. That's how I like it right there. Perfect. All right, let's get our pads and torque this down. I'm going to go ahead and knock out the other side first, and then we'll come back to the pads. Now we have our torque wrench out, and we want to go ahead. There we go. Torque these down in the back. Perfect. All right, let me knock out the other side, then let's come back to the pads. But doesn't that look nice, guys? Brand new, factory original brake system. All right, there we go. We have the driver's side knocked out, new rotor, new caliper, new brake hose, and let's go ahead and get our pads in. All right, guys, to put the new pads in, it's very easy. You just slip them right in the back, and ATE provides all new brake hardware. And let me go get that and I'll show it to you. All right, here's the new brake hardware, and we have the retaining clip and these pins that slip through. And these pins, they slip through, and then they have a little like lead crush washer right here that crushes and holds them in place. Let me show you how that works. So we'll just put this guy in here, slide our pin through. We have to tap that pin in with a little punch. I'll show you. First, let me just get them set in here. Push it down right there. Come on, go through. Just wanted to poke through on the other side. There we go. All right, now we get a little punch and we'll tap those guys in here. All right, back here on the back side, see there's our little crush washer here and here. And we just grab our punch. There we go, we just tap them right in there. And there you go. Brakes are installed. And we'll go ahead and do the same thing. And these are ATE pads. Matches the ATE rotors, ATE calipers, ATE hoses, all OEM stuff. Let's go ahead and get those in here. And let's put in the retaining hardware. All right. Stick it through this side. There we go. Now let's get our punch and tap those through there. Boom. There we go. Pads installed. Didn't that look nice? Now the next thing we want to do is get up there and remove, see right there, that sway bar end link. And one side attaches down there to the hub, and the other side screws into your rear sway bar right there. Let me take it out and I'll show you why we're replacing it. All right, to get these undone, you're going to need a 17 millimeter, and that goes around here, but you need to put one on the back side right there to hold it still. Then we have a nut here. Here we go. Got that loose. All right, we can take that off by hand. That's just a little flat nut and washer. And we have new ones provided with the new sway bar end links. All right, now let me show you how to get it removed from down on the bottom side. Okay, there's the back of the car. We're over here on the other side. And if you look up here, you can see there is our sway bar end link right there. And right into the hub right there, there we go, is a nut. There we go. And you just take your time, little turn at a time, and that'll come out of there. And I'm just up here doing it by hand. It's about to come out. You can see it right there. There we go. And there's a little washer that fell out. Let me go show you why we're replacing this. Okay, here's our new sway bar end link right here with the new washers. See, there's two. One goes here, one goes here. Here's our old one. Now you can see the old one, the boot. There you go. See that boot is cracked. Get it focused. There's a little ball joint in there. When that boot cracks and fails, you get all kinds of dirt and debris down here, and then this will break. You can see our new one. See our nice new boot there? Let me see if I can get the focus here. Well, anyway, you guys get the idea. There we go. See that nice boot? Anyway, let me go get this reinstalled on both sides, and I'll show you when I'm done. All right, this is the tricky part. So what I like to do, I'm going to come up here on the top side. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm going to attach the one on the top first. All right, and then we have this one down here on the bottom that we have to get threaded back into the hub. And to do that, you have to get in there with your wrench You have to come over here with your wrench, get it on there, just little turns at a time, and you can get it to thread back in there. See if I can do this on camera. Oh, not quite. Got to get it to start threading. All right, so I'm going to remove the camera so I can do this, guys. All right, there we go. New sway bar end link attached down at the hub and up top. And guys, it is 92 degrees and 40% humidity here in Georgia right now. I am sweating my butt off, but better than sitting in a cubicle somewhere. So let me go ahead, knock out the other side. I'll show you when I'm done. Okay, here we go. Just finished the one on the driver's side. Beautiful new sway bar end link. So we're done back here. New brake hoses, calipers, pads, rotors on both sides. And I'll show how to bleed the brake system, get fresh fluid into everything later in the video. But for now, let's go up to the front of the car and we want to install our brand new Bilstein shocks. And like I said, the new front calipers are going to be in later this week. And here's the hoses. We'll put those in too. But let me show you how to install these new shocks. Okay guys, it is the next day and man, is it hot in Georgia. I just got out here to the shop and today we're going to start on the front of the car. First thing I want to do is remove the old original front shocks. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, we can see right here there's our upper shock right here. There's a lock nut. There's two nuts there and they lock each other together. So I need to remove those. Then over here, you can barely get down in here. There you go. You have your two nuts right there. We get those off. Sorry, get it focused. There we go. Get those off and we can remove these shocks. All right, this may be a little difficult to see. I'm on the driver's side here, and right there are those two lock nuts. Now, what you need to get these off, this is a shaved down wrench. See how I've shaved one side of it so it's very thin like that? And you can come around, let's see if I can stick it right through here. There we go. And since it's shaved down, it doesn't interfere with removing the top nut. And if we're lucky, this is going to come off. Otherwise, I may have to hold the top of the shock. We'll see. Okay, good. That came right off. And now I can take this wrench out, and hopefully we can get this one off here. Sometimes the shock will start spinning, and so you have to hold the top of the shock to do it. Okay, good. That one came right off too. They weren't seized on there. All right, there we go. And now on the top, you have just a cover plate right here. And there's a bushing. Now, it's very rare that these bushings are actually worn out. And sometimes I like to reuse them. Now, Bilstein sends a new bushing. And I just like to, sometimes these, see the way it's kind of molded and kind of fits in there really well because it's been in there for several years. Sometimes I like to reuse these. This one is perfect condition. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. So when I install the new shock, I'm going to check and see if I want to use this one or the one that Bilstein sent us, the replacement. I'll determine that later. Anyway, now that the shock is attached from the top right here, see it's now loose, and I'll clean out that dirt down there. That's just, you know, old car. It's detached here. I can come down here and there's two 10mm bolts that hold the shock to the lower control arm, and I can go ahead and remove those and get the shock out. So let me get started on that. Well, sorry guys, I forgot to hit record on the camera, but basically I just came in here with my 10mm and I took out the nut there. But once you have, the bolt right there. Now once you have that out, you can just compress the shock. There we go. And we pull it down like that, and then I can get access to the one on the back. And there we go. We get that old shock out of here. Let me go get the new shock and we'll throw that in. All right, guys. So I came over to get the shock. You can see here's the original shock that was removed, and I went ahead and removed the dust cover. Now these, you don't have to replace these guys. These can just be cleaned up. I'll clean it in the parts washer and just go ahead and reinstall it. But what I realized is that I bought the shocks I showed earlier in the video were actually the rear shocks. I bought the wrong ones. I typed in the part number wrong, so I just had to go back to the warehouse and get the front shocks. And here we go. These are the Bilstein front shocks. There's all our hardware. And you can see that is the exact same original shock. These were actually manufactured by Bilstein back in 1987. Here is the Bilstein. Now, of course, Bilstein puts a sticker on theirs where when they manufacture them and send them to Mercedes, they do not put the sticker. And Mercedes probably puts a little stamp on it somewhere. I don't know where that would be, but usually that's how it is. Anyway, let's go ahead. We'll clean up our dust cover and get these new shocks installed in the car. And we're just gonna come over here to the parts washer. And all these are just like a real hard plastic. And you can see they just clean up relatively easy. And you really don't need to do this. I just like to clean them up a little bit before reinstalling them back on the car. It really doesn't matter at all if you do this. All right, there we go, guys. It's really as easy as just sliding the cover back on. Now, Bilstein gives us all new hardware, and they give you 2 new bushings. So we're going to go ahead, stick the new bushings, one's for the top, one's for the bottom. Here's the original one that came off the car. I'm going to go ahead and just stick the new one on there. But to be honest with you, you can do it either way. It really doesn't matter. These very rarely, if ever, fail unless the car has been, sitting outside rotting or something. And on these garage kept vehicles, these bushings are never bad. Anyway, there's a new bushing that goes right there. And then they give us a new cover plate. This goes on the top with our new bushing. And they give us a lock nut that goes on there. Whoops, it goes like this. And 2 new screws or bolts to mount it to the car. So let's go reinstall this one right now. And I'm actually over here on the passenger side of the car because I went ahead and removed that shock when I was off camera. But I got our new supplied hardware installed. There we go. And then we'll tighten the front. Let's compress it. Get it to go back under the fender. There we go. Here's the hard part. You kind of got to compress it to get it to go up. There we go. And we've gone up into the car, up into the inner fender, and then I can tighten this one. All right, there we go. All right, let me go put the pieces on the top side. But you can see we have a nice, beautiful new Bilstein shock installed. Now, to put it on the top side, I'm going to have to actually wait until I lower the car back onto the wheels and it compresses the suspension a little bit. And then we'll see. See, it's barely sticking through right there. But when I compress it, it'll stick up further, and then I can get the nut to thread onto the end. So we're going to wait to attach the top. Let me go ahead and knock out the one on the driver's side. Okay, so I'm back over here on the driver's side. Here's our shock. But you'll notice I can't get access to where the shock is. So what you have to do is turn the wheel all the way the opposite direction so your wheel is pointed all the way out, and then you can get access to that area. There we go. Now you can see I can get access to that area. Okay, kind of a tough angle to record. Now, there you see, Bilstein actually supplies new bolts and a lock washer, and they put blue Loctite on them too, just like Mercedes did from the factory. Well, just like Bilstein did for Mercedes from the factory. All right, let's see. Let's get this one. I like to get the front just started by hand. And then once I have that by hand, it's easier to get the back to thread. Now, you don't want to do it all the way down. We're just going to give the front a little bump. Okay, now I can more easily get the back started. And to do that, let's see if I can get around here. All right, there we go. Now I may be able to do this without bending the shock forward. Let me see. Yeah, looks like I am. There we go. Now let's put it back up in there. Do the front side. And there we go, guys. Now I gotta compress it. There we go. Push it up through the body of the car. All right, front shocks are done. Now it's time to move on to the front brakes. All right, before I start on those front brakes, I want to go ahead and do a fresh oil change, and then I'm going to put my belly pans back up here, and then we'll move over to the brakes. Brad said he did an oil change 500 miles ago, but we're just going to go ahead and do a fresh one. And I recommend changing the oil every 3,000 miles. You know, some guys do every 5,000, but no one ever hurt their engine by changing the oil too much. So we'll get all this oil out of here and change it, and then I'll put a sticker in the window marking the mileage. All right, I'll be back in a minute. Let me go ahead and knock this out. Okay, got the oil drained out, and I've got a new crush washer on here. That's important. See, here's the old crush washer. These are just copper crush washers, and they crush and create a good seal when you put your plug back in. See, this one's already been crushed. You see the line there? So we got a fresh one on there, and got the rear belly pan on. Let me go ahead and put the front one on. All right, there we go. Got our belly pans back on there nicely. And let me lower the car down and get some oil back in it. And then we're gonna move over here to our front brake calipers. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and fill it up with some oil. Now, sorry, the label is rubbed off a little here, but the oil that I'm using is made by Lubrication Engineers. These guys are a great company. This is it's old school dinosaur oil with a synthetic additive blend. They call it Monolec. And this is 15W40 diesel engine oil. And guys, I use these in my, when I was racing professionally. I use this stuff in my race car. I also use their transmission fluid. It is excellent oil. Now, I'm not getting paid by these guys or anything, but I called Lubrication Engineers, and if you get in touch with Clay, I'll flash his information on the screen, and you tell him that Woods and Barclay sent you, they will give you a discount on the oil. They'll tell you where to pick it up locally, or they can just ship it directly to you. But this is good stuff, guys. I use this in all my vehicles, including my diesel 7.3 F-250 and Excursion. Whoops, dripped a little down there on the front. I'll clean that up. But it takes almost a jug of one of these. So we'll go ahead, get this filled up, and I will be back in a minute. Clean up right down here where I spilt a little. Okay, the odometer currently says 136,910. So basically 137. So let's change this oil at 140,000 miles, and we'll do 15W40. And let's see, the date today I think is July 9th, 7/9/25. So yeah, just change it to 140,000 miles. Guys, literally, as soon as I got done with that oil change, I heard a truck in the driveway, and it was UPS dropping off the calipers, front calipers. These were shipped in from Germany, from the Mercedes-Benz Classic Center. Yeah, this is a Mercedes box. And I will show you, there you go, there's your Mercedes emblem. These were very expensive, guys, but they will be good for the next 40 years. But what I want to show you is that Mercedes does not make parts, and I will show you who makes these parts. So there's our brand new caliper, and if you look right there, ATE. This is made by ATE, the same company that I bought the hoses and rear calipers from. So you can buy directly from Mercedes. Now, in this case, I had to buy from Mercedes because ATE did not have these in stock. They showed out of stock in every warehouse across the country. Mercedes actually had these in their warehouse in Germany from when ATE had previously made them. But if you buy directly from ATE, you're going to get a much cheaper price because right there, see how ATE stamped a little Mercedes logo? Now, if you buy directly from ATE, you don't get the Mercedes logo. Guys, that logo right there will pretty much double the price of the exact same caliper. Anyway, like I said, I had to get these from Mercedes because ATE didn't have any in stock. And there's all our new hardware. Here we go. All right, we got our ATE hoses, calipers. I got some pads over there on the bench. And let's go ahead and get these installed. All right, so the front brakes, a little different than the rear calipers. First, we have our brake pad wear sensors. And here is our harness right here. That's a 10 millimeter. We're going to take that harness off. Now, I have replacement brake pad wear sensors, and these are Phoebe. You can see made in Germany. And that's our wear sensor. So there's 2 per side. We're going to replace those. Anyway, that's a 10 millimeter nut right there. I'll take off the harness. And now these wear sensors, they just pull out of the harness. See if I can do this one hand. I just grab some needle nose. We'll just wiggle that out of there. There we go. And we'll, like I said, we'll replace those in the pads. And so basically we're just going to throw away that caliper. And of course, we'll get our hose out here. So, and now on the back, you can see there's a 19 millimeter right there and right there. That's what holds the caliper on. So let's get this off of here. All right, first that's a 10 millimeter. We'll just go ahead and take off our wear sensor. And we can just let that hang. We want to keep our nut there. We'll just let that hang there. Now let me get the 19 millimeter and pop those loose. And it's a little cramped back here, so I just have, you know, a half-inch drive to crack these guys loose. There we go, there's one. There's 2. All right, let me take these out and I'll be back in a second. Now we can just slide our caliper off of here. There we go. And like I said, this rotor has obviously been replaced. That rotor is beautiful condition. Absolutely no reason whatsoever to change this. Now, what we want to do now is just go up here. We're going to toss this old caliper. And we just need to break it loose right here and unscrew our old original line. And just like we did on the rear of the car, this is an 11 millimeter. You want to use a line wrench. That way you don't damage the nut. Let's see if I can get this guy on here. All right. Oh, there we go. See how easy that comes off? That's the beauty of a rust-free car. You don't have to ever worry about your brake lines stripping. All right, I'm going to go ahead and unscrew this. And just like on the rear of the car, we have our hose. I put a cap over it, and we're just going to screw it in real quick as soon as this one comes out. All right. Now let's go ahead and screw this one in here. There we go. All right. There we go. Now let me tighten that up a little bit, and then we'll get our new caliper on here. All right, guys, same as the rear. We want to pop our cap off and then quickly get our caliper threaded in without making too much of a mess. Oh, I think I got it. Oh, not yet. Come on. There we go. You don't want to drop one of these on your foot. These things are heavy. All right, cool. We'll go ahead and get that mounted up here with the new hardware. And ATE provides new hardware with the blue Loctite already applied. We'll go ahead and get these started back here. All right, now I need to go ahead and torque them down. Click. Click. And there we go. Now what we want to do, I want to go ahead and tighten down our lines. You can see we have a nice curve here, and then get our brake pad wear sensor reattached with our new brake pads. All right, here's the new ATE brake pads, original equipment. And guys, we just slide those in. Mercedes calipers are the absolute easiest of any car I've ever worked on. I mean, they just go right in there. All right, now let's go ahead and get our retaining pins in there. Now, just like on the rear of the car, you have your retaining bracket, but you notice how much bigger it is on the front. And then we have these two pins that slide in. Now, also what I want to point out, you see there's a little hole. Let me just show you. Well, I'll get a set of the brake pads here and show you. So on the back of the brake pad, so that's slid in there. See, we have a little hole right there. Well, that hole is where your wear sensor plugs into. See, this wear sensor plugs right down into the hole like that. And then you just press it down on there. I'll go ahead and install it off the car like this on this one. Well, here we go. Let me just put this one in here. There we go. That's how that works. And then that sensor is what plugs in to your harness right there. So let me go ahead and put the sensor on this one and then put it back in. All right, there we go. We're just going to put our sensor right there. See, there's a little groove. See, there's a groove right there. And that groove, the hole goes right there. And then that groove slides down in that channel right there. You just push it into place like that. And then you can just slide it back in there. All right, let's get our retainer in here. Get in here. There we go. We'll put one through here. Get our sensor out of the way. There we go. Sorry if my hand's in the way. There we go. And then we need to tap those in with a punch from the back side. I'll go ahead and tap those in. You already saw how you do it on the rear. And then we're going to screw back in our harness and plug in our brake pad wear sensors. All right, to put back in our harness, you just want to go right up here and you reuse your existing bolt. And you don't want to torque this down a lot, guys. It's just a very small bolt. You just want to snug it up. There you go. If you over tighten that, you'll break it. And then our wear sensors plug right into there. And there we go, guys. New brake caliper, new wear sensors, new pads, new hose, new Bilstein shock. Brad already did the wheel bearings. I can see these rotors were previously changed pretty recently. So we're good to go. Let me go knock out the other side. I'll be back when I'm done. Just wanted to compare our brand new one. There you go. There's our old nasty one there. Time to go in the garbage. All right, guys, there we go. We are done with the passenger side. New caliper, wear sensors, pads, brake hose, new Bilstein shock. Now, next thing I need to do is lower the car down, put the wheels on, and that will compress the shocks so I can put the retaining, the bushing and the nut on the top of the shocks. And then I need to bleed the brake system and flush all new brake fluid, because right now the calipers have no brake fluid in them. They're brand new. So I got to flush through all the old fluid, fill it up with new fluid, and then I'm done. So that's going to be it for this video. It's hot as hell out here and I don't feel like recording all that. But the next video will be the test drive. We'll go test out our new brake system, our new shocks, make sure everything's good on the vehicle, and then it goes over to Scott for professional detailing. So hope you guys learned something. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Take care.